Now, I'm not a Scrappy apologist. I'm just sort of asking that specific question. Can Scrappy be redeemed? Or maybe the fans will allow it, but yet this hatred is so sensitive, maybe they won't. But you can or you won't. And that's is sort of the interesting question because it's sort of hard to redeem a character and the fans will not allow it. In fact, why the fans don't want Scrappy at least to start this sort of question. That's basically pretty simple. He was saturated in the franchise. On top of all this, he was just forced. They didn't really know how to really use Scrappy at the very beginning. That little by little, they're realizing how to use him, but they fall into too little, too late sort of territory. In fact, it sort of started with like introducing Scrappy to the fans back, I think, with the '80s version. But the thing is, how Scrappy did work is the fact he's sort of innocent. That he never really forced the story to move along. It was Scooby-Doo that accidentally kind of find a clue or box or something that led them to follow the next story beat. But Scrappy was kind of innocent, believing Scooby Doo is the best of the best. He believes he's sort of his mountain, his god, because everything he asked him, like, "Oh, you did it on purpose. Why, Uncle Scooby?" And being Scooby, being the ham, the coward, he won't admit he did something wrong. He says, "Oh yeah, definitely." This is the things what makes Scrappy endearing. The point you realize what went wrong. I mean, you could see the moments, you could see the little episodes where you could see he could be very adorable and appreciative because his sort of blindness to worship his own uncle is that endearing. But something went wrong. They wanted him to be in charge. They wanted him to take the lead of the show. And this is the point that a lot of fans kind of got a bad taste in their mouths because he was sort of arrogant, over a top, moving the rest of the cast that he was sort of the main lead. And that kind of pissed off a lot of people. This is the reason why people just don't like Scrappy because his arrogance, his foolishness, even that everything he does just sort of piss you off because he kind of goes against the whole gang. And I think this is the reason why James Gunn version of Scooby Doo pissed him like a sort of cult leader, the one who's in charge, who wants control, and that itself kind of makes sense for what they depicted Scrappy that way. But interestingly enough, the Red Shirt trilogy or the '90s trilogy of Scooby Doo, if you don't know what I'm talking about, is the only time Shaggy wears the red shirts. That's what a lot of fans call that trilogy of the Red Shirt trilogy. It's because for some reason he has red shirts. Nobody knows. This is not a mysterious answer or questions. It's just they decided to just give him a red shirt just because. But besides that, that trilogy sort of kind of attempted to fix some the mistakes that happened in the past, but not yet fully understanding what made it work. I mean, one movie, at least the first one, the Monster Drag Race, that kind of was in the middle, that he was helping, but at the same time, he tried not to become main lead. I think the one who sort of perfected is Scooby Doo Meet the Brood Brothers. That's the one who felt what Scrappy was very useful. He was adorable, endearing, and waiting for his next step by Scooby Doo because he realized he's not in charge. And I think that's the perfect movie to basically point out how to use them. Of course, you have the other movie, Scooby Doo in the Boo School, that does sort of the opposite. He does it in between that. He was sort of kind of forced to be a main leader, but he's never tried. He's like, once in a while, this is the reason why they held up bad taste. In fact, this is the last time Scrappy reappears, and they're barely figuring out how to use him the right way. But once again, that was sort of too little, too late. But believe it or not, they did attempted to bring him back. In fact, should I redeem them? Of course, before I continue, my name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, the reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you'll like how it's going, you'd like to help my channel, put a like, comment, and subscribe. That's all you need to do. If you don't, that's fine too. If you do, thank you, I'm completely grateful. Especially, I'm getting close to my main goal, to 1,000 subscribers, because I am around 40 some subscribers, like 940 some. But thank you to all the people who put like, comment, subscribe. Because of you, I am getting close to my main goal. Now, let's continue of this sort of can you save Scrappy or redeem Scrappy if the fan allows this? Now, the only sort of time, or two times in a way, if you want to count it, that kind of sort of redeemed Scrappy is sort of the James Gunn movie. That he was sort of the bad guy, but it's sort of in a way to reintroduce Scrappy in the main line, in other words. But to be interesting how James Gunn read him in the story, that be known he wasn't in charge, he just was the writer of this version of Scooby-Doo, but fans just called the James Gunn version live action. But he was sort of a smart way to reintroduce Scrappy, making the bad guy, make him what people got pissed off, and use that as a strength of a character, also giving what the fans wanted, payback. And in fact, it actually worked. But this is the reason why every time they bring Scrappy, they use the gun version, because fans like that version. In fact, this is the only reason you actually bring Scrappy. Sort of villainize him by using the James Gunn version, the kind of Jack version of Scrappy. Even that be realized, a lot of small friends, not small fans, a small group, a very small group of fans will defend Scrappy because he kind of did save the franchise. But even that, it's still not enough to convince everybody to forgive Scrappy. Even that, the creators of Hanna-Barbera sold the IPs, all the cartoon, to Warner Brothers, but with one condition: that Scrappy will never be used. Only a sort of kind of scenarios that kind of make sense. And this is the reason why James Gunn had Scrappy on his movie, because he made the sort of kind of scenarios was satisfying enough of the creators of Scooby-Doo to be okay. Even that both creators of Hanna-Barbera passed away, that sort of rule still stays in Warner Brothers. They will not allow this. Only sort of condition had to be met. And that is sort of interesting, because the other time you see Scrappy reappearing, that actually is considered a redemption of Scrappy, is Scooby-Doo Apocalypse. That version, that Scrappy has the same version as James Gunn, but they actually have a different explanation, because the movie is what sort of evil magical powers increase his strength, his size. And this version of Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, it was more experimental, more scientific of the situation, make him increase that size and that dangerous. But interestingly enough, he is not related to Scooby. He's just a have a habit saying sort of uncle, like saying bro in other words, and sort of kind of have this hatred of Scooby-Doo, tempted to hunt him down. But to a certain point, he sort of realized maybe it wasn't a good point to hunt him down. Was the whole point. He has an arc for a reason, but the whole interesting thing, he quite literally sacrificed himself for Scooby and the gang so they have a chance to escape. That's probably the only time he actually got fully kind of redeemed. And that's, I thought, sort of interesting, because the more times you bring Scrappy, the more times you have more ammo to readdress how to fix Scrappy. Have the James Gunn version had to be the sort of kind of asshole, can actually kind of get liked, given just decent enough explanation why he likes this, but give him that sort of endearing accidental understanding he was wrong. In fact, you can actually push it further to actually fully fix him and redeem and keep his sort of personality. instead of the asshole kid like Ben 10. The reason why you like Ben 10 is because he's an asshole. He is that kid that you should hate. But the reason why you don't hate him is because he does get punished every single episode of his foolishness, that he abused his power, and that little by little he realized maybe I was wrong, or something. Another character make this sort of interesting, sort of like something like Diaries of the Weekly Kid. Sorry, I can't say the name right. That character of the main lead is the same thing as Ben. He's an asshole because he's a kid, but how they sort of semi redeem him is little by little. He sort of realize maybe the situation I put myself is sort of wrong. Maybe I should do something a little different. Almost becoming sort of selfless nowadays, and that's sort of the key to fixing Scrappy. Is sort of make him an asshole, but make him realize little by little maybe he was wrong. And that's what I think they're sort of accidentally doing that to Scrappy without actually realizing. This is why I meant they give him more ammo, more ideas, a more interesting way to use Scrappy. Of course, there's another problem. There's the fans. The fans will not allow this because the hatred is so strong. Because everybody hates Scrappy. Doesn't matter how you turn it, it's still that hatred. But I got to notice, the more you use Scrappy, the more and more there's sort of I mean, it depends how you use Scrappy. In fact, the last time of this recording they used Scrappy is on the unfortunate version of Velma season 2. That was their Scrappy. They kind of used the same version of the James Gunn. I think that because it's the most recognizable and sort of like version of Scrappy. But even that, I felt that character Scrappy is still better whatever the rest of the cast really was, because at least he has a personality. But that's just a lot. You are convincing people that Scrappy is likable while actually trying to make him likable. It's sort of a smart way to do it, even that it's sort of accidental. In fact, let me ask this question. Do you accept Scrappy if he was more endearing, even that it sort of fixed the problem? Can you allow this or not? Even that, Warner Brothers, they're very strict. What I understand, they will not allow anyone to actually use Scrappy. Only in sort of conditions that we as fans don't know that condition. Maybe one day they will sort of leak it out by accident. Maybe some writer will pissed off, explain why they don't use Scrappy. But besides that, besides the deal of Hanna-Barbera, that's still sort of kind of angst that can you fix Scrappy? The only way I see and the only way it was accepted is use the James Gunn version. That is sort of the opening to really fix it. But to be fair, I feel that you do an extra step to sort of seal the deal to if you can fix Scrappy. Be known, I don't like Scrappy, but that sort of can you fix him interests me. In fact, it's sort of a way to maybe convince the fans of Scooby to give it a chance. It's that change of design of Scrappy. Don't make him the pup. Make him sort of like a teenager in between. Or make him as same age as Scooby, but make him a little bit different. That he has that sort of iconic, similar personality, but yet sort of asshole-like. Even that you don't believe his personality will fit in the show. Believe me, they kind of did fix it back in the day, using a different kind of cast around him. I remember the show's name. I think it was called Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo Pop Hour or something, that have a second storyline only focused on Scrappy using clones of the original two members of Scooby and Shaggy. But they sort of kind of Western cowboys that are actually sheriffs that I just don't remember the names. but this is the only time I've seen they sort of embrace what does work of Scrappy, but this is the only time they actually do this. I'm surprised they never tried to do something completely different because this is the only time I'm not bitter, not pissed off, not angry. In fact, rewatching those small shorts, it actually is enjoyable because it really fits the group, the cast that's set up for Scrappy, but never really use it for some apparent reason that the fans sort of forgot. At least that's why I choose to interpret. I don't know you remember those type of characters? Tell me down below. Let me know. Now, besides that, honestly, I don't know what else to do with Scrappy. You have the formula. They just need to tweak it a little bit here and there. Keep the assholeness. Keep that I'm the best, but make him sort of enduring that he making mistakes, realizing I was wrong, realizing asking forgiveness for Scooby Doo. Being Scooby Doo, he probably does forgive him if you give me a Scooby snack. That's at least the way I can see you can semi fix Scrappy. But 100% sure some of you be completely disagree with me. Of course, that's fine because let's face it, it's Scrappy. In fact, he's so hateable and unlikable. We sort of miss a performance of uh, Tim Curry. That, believe it or not, the original James Gunn movie, Tim Curry supposed to be the owner of the basically park of Scooby Doo that Scooby Doo had to sort of figure out, not Mr. Bean. That itself says a lot how much hatred, even that Tim Curry is a fan of Scooby Doo. He wanted to join this film, but because knowing Scrappy was inside the movie, he walked away. And that's sort of kind of disappointing because we could have Tim Curry. He's the ham. He is the ham who fits Scooby Doo. But yet we got Mr. Bean. I mean, fair trade. But besides that, how you felt about this? Do you actually want Scrappy to be fixed? Or you're sort of maybe put up with the idea? I highly doubt it. But let me know how you felt. You willing to accept if they do specific changes of the character, just make him endearing enough, but even sort of asking forgiveness of all the things he did. Even that he doesn't need to be explained that much, but you get the idea. You have to make him sort of way to make him likable. But once more, it all depends on the fans and also WB. Now, let me know how you felt about this. You hate it? Do you like it? You think you cannot or you can? Give me your ideas how to semi-fix Scrappy. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.